Welcome back into Exit 99 Sports. As always, my name is Caleb Deloach, and today joined by a very special guest. It is Coach Jeromy McDowell. Coach, thank you for joining me.
You bet, man. Excited and just thankful you guys reached out and to be a part of this and everything you guys do, with the local sports scene and everything. So, yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. And, for those that are now watching or listening, behind the curtain, you guys just finished official practice number 1 here Monday. So, how fired up were you? How excited were you guys to be back out there officially, on the practice field?
Yeah, guys were excited. We're just really looking forward to taking that next step. Last year obviously was our first year in the program as far as with the varsity team and schedule. And so, you always learn and make adjustments and as coaches, and then, hope that the young men take what we're asking them to do, and they're really excited too. I think they're starting to see, the work they put in and seeing some fruit from that and getting some confidence and just, taking the next step and on we go.
Yeah, I imagine it's kind of a neat perspective for you right now, being just the third year ever as a football team for Saxony. Kind of guys are now getting in the spot where they're, I guess, getting more into the drill of how things are going to go, getting into the motion of it, and it's kind of becoming second nature. Yeah,
expectations are a funny thing, and so once they realize, what they're being asked to do, and then they can have some confidence in knowing and believing they can do those things, then you can really start to move the needle. Like you said, coming up on the third season. The first year they were JV, I wasn't a part of that, and then last year was the first year varsity, and we took our lumps, but also did some nice things and some things that we can look forward to. So just thankful for all the people that made, that happen behind the scenes, the, administration and different people that you might not ever hear their names, but they should be proud of what they've had a hand in and the direction that we're going with the program, and just the things that come along with the football program, with the school and the community, and just all the camaraderie and things that come along with all that. So, yeah, it's a fun time and just kind of on the beginning stages of all that. So, a lot of excitement.
Yeah, so you've, probably unsurprisingly to anybody know that, is watching this right now, but you've been involved in football for most all your life, I assume. What was maybe high school Jeromy McDowell even involved in, or even earlier than that? What all, did you play a little bit everything at that point?
Yeah, growing up, it was a lot of baseball. Back when, I'm an old guy, so back when I was a kid, pre-junior high, we did not have football where I grew up. So besides just, throwing around the backyard and with buddies or whatever, but a lot of baseball and basketball and that type of thing. And then junior high, started playing football and was really excited about that. And, kind of just took off from there.
Yeah. So you're a graduate. I have North County. You guys, 1997, you're all good there. Sorry. 1997, you guys went to state, got second place in that. You got first in baseball, first in boys track. What was in the water while you were up there at North County at that point?
Yeah, there was a lot of good athletes and some good coaches pouring into young people then, and we had a really good group of athletes, like you said, a lot of state titles and state appearances. My sophomore year, like you said, football wise, we got to play in the Dome for the state title, and
I missed that a little bit.
We played Webb City, and anybody that's familiar with Missouri football knows that Webb City is a powerhouse.
They're all right, yeah.
And we scored on the very first play of scrimmage. Wow. 80-yard touchdown, and then our second touchdown, I think it was 40-something to 7 at the time in the fourth quarter. So it was a good experience. Very proud of what we accomplished that year, but it did kind of end on a sour note. But a lot of good things, though.
That Webb City has done that to their fair share of people, I think, throughout the state.
Yep.
So that you ended up being blessed to play quarterback. Ended up here at SEMA. What was your experience back, at that point in time, kind of recruiting? And there was not social media, things like that kids use a lot now. What was that like ending up getting to play at college?
Well, it was, man, I'm just very proud of that first, at the first most there. Just a lot of hard work. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, like I said, pouring into me, like our head coach, Matt Haug at the time, Steve Abishon, just, good men that guys could look up to and really respect and listen to their guidance. And so I just did what they said, and I didn't know any better, and was definitely blessed and fortunate enough to be recruited, and just ended up here. It was kind of a weird deal that the recruiting, SEMO wasn't on my radar. And had some other things going, and then Tim Billings, at the time, he had just gotten a head coaching job, and he called me. He was literally on the road from Marshall, driving here, and called me, and I guess recruited me, and just kind of taught me into it. Yeah. Long story short, but just thankful for that time of my life, and probably a arrogant kid that thought it knew everything in the world and was humbled by injuries and different things, but still learned a lot of life lessons through that time, and just very thankful for that time and the people that, like I said, poured into me and helped guide me along this path. So a lot of good things from that time.
Yeah, you mentioned, Coach Billings and a lot of other guys you mentioned at North County as well. You think that like those kind of influences is what inevitably led you here to this path of kind of getting into coaching?
Yeah, I'm sure. Yes, I'm sure. Once I finished up at SEMO, I moved back home, and I thought, man, I want to make a lot of money. And I had.
It's always a good plan.
Yeah, I didn't really think anything about coaching, to be honest with you. I moved back and a business degree and this and that, and the head coach at the time asked if I would just volunteer and help the quarterbacks. And I was fortunate enough what I was doing. I had the ability to have that time available. And once I started doing that, I quickly realized, man, this is what I'm supposed to do. It was kind of a calling at that point. And that's, I just kind of turned my focus to that, and kind of went back to school to get education part of the business degree, so I could end up being a teacher and a coach, and that's what I did. And then I ended up being head coach at North County for 5 years before I got into college. But all that, along with my wife at the time, once we got married, and God had a big part of that too, where I think he was pushing me and pulling me in different directions that I didn't know I was supposed to go. And there I was. And so I became a coach, and been coaching for a long time, I guess now. So, yeah.
Yeah. What was, what was that like, getting the first head coaching experience when you were at North County? Did you kind of feel like you got thrown in the deep end at first there, or what was it like?
Yeah, no doubt. I think I was 26 maybe at the time. And they had hit a couple of years of a new coach came in, and just didn't have a good run there, and so I just kind of got thrown in the fire. And I really had one probably solid assistant that was like my right hand guy, and then a bunch of other coaches that was ready to do whatever, but maybe didn't have a ton of experience with football, and we just kind of tried to figure it out together. And first couple of years were rough, and but I was proud that last couple of years we ended up with a conference title and got in the playoffs and all those type of things. But man, it was an interesting time. Looking back now, especially, it's like, man, what was I thinking here or there or whatever? But it was what shaped me and who I am today, I'm sure.
Yeah, and from there, I saw you moved over to the Division II ranks. You were talking about that beforehand. You were coached at Colorado Mesa out there. I mean, that, talk about, once again, it's kind of like a whiplash, a little bit of experiences there, going from up where, like, Bonne Terre area over there, North County, to going over there to Colorado, coaching Division II football. What was that jump like?
Man, it was awesome, but it was challenging. And I thank my wife for that time, and she was a rock star, because we just picked up and moved. We had twins at the time that they were right before kindergarten, maybe 5, and then another younger boy, 2 or something like that, I think, at the time. And just left grandparents and family and all that, just kind of go pursue my dream. And it was an awesome time. Loved every second. And like I said, I'm just thankful for my wife that she just was a rock star mom and wife and provider at times, for sure. Because if that's the route you want to do, you got to make some sacrifices. And man, it's just, I'm just thankful for her and that time of my life, for sure.
Yeah, that's pretty good football out there too, because I'm a Harding University graduate Division II, so I definitely am immersed in the D2 football world. So I mean, you guys are out there playing Pueblo, Colorado School of Mines. I don't know if they were as dominant then as they were. I'm not sure, but my first, you guys, you're in a tough conference out there.
My first year getting out there, I was like, all right, what's this college football like? And we played Pueblo, and they just backhanded us around the field. But they went on to win the national championship that year. And they were, they had a couple NFL guys and different things. They were a really good football team, but we were able to get it going. And then those last 3 years I was there, we were conference champions and won 9 games all 3 years. And we just, a lot of hard work went in, and man, just some really good guys, good coaches, good players. They're everywhere. You put your head down and go to work with guys, and special things happen, and so just a lot of good friends and a lot of good moments and memories come from Colorado Mesa. And
then kind of I guess maybe my like dumb question here I have about like becoming an offensive coordinator at that level. How do you construct your like identity, your like play calling, decision making? How does that all like piece together like for you eventually? How did that all come together? Yeah. Like I said, this is a dumb question, but I don't think I've ever had anybody to ask this to.
That's not a dumb question. You kind of got my feet wet, at the high school level, just calling some plays and, I don't like this, or I like this, and different things. And, playing, you take some stuff from when you play too. The head coach at the time out there that was the offensive coordinator when I first got there, he ended up giving it to me, was my offensive coordinator at SEMO years ago. So that same offense had been instilled in me years prior, and it just kind of kept morphing into what we were doing at the time. And then I put my own spin or tweak on some of it once I was handed the reins. But I think it really just, to try and answer your question as straightforward as I can, it's really what you believe in personally. Like there's a lot of guys that, you could be open-minded and take ideas from in your room as far as the other coaches and stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like, what do you believe in? Those are your core, your core beliefs. Let everything start from there and then kind of expand. And so like I played quarterback and I like to throw the football, but at the same time, like I kind of like to get after people physically. And so I believe in being physical. I like to have fun. So like, now Harding can play some
we get accused of not being fun.
Old school triple option. They can do it better than almost everybody. But I like to kind of, spread it out. And if they pack the box, throw it out there. If they're, light, then run it. But, one thing we've always been in all of our offenses is physical at the point of attack. Even though we're spread, I hate sometimes using the word spread because soft kind of comes along with that. And so I've always made sure every team, every offense that I've been in charge of, like that's the first thing we're talking about is being physical. Right. And then we're going to have fun. So what comes with fun? Being playing fast, spreading it out, doing different things. But, I think at the end of the day, who are you as an individual or as a coach, and what do you believe in? Start there, make everything, begin there, and then you can start to fill in the pieces. But that's what I've always done. I've been fortunate enough to have success and good people around me. Yep. So it's been fun.
Yeah, I sat through a lot of really boring, like 49-7 victories in GAC there. It was really boring, but it was tough to watch at times. But it was just like, all right, I guess we're going to run for 7 more yards
another
here.
Dive.
Another 8-yard run here up the middle. All right, that's fine. So from out west, you come back home, I guess, if you will. You take the job at SEMO 2017. What was that like? What was that transition like? What was that kind of opportunity? How did that call come to you?
Yeah, no, I just we like I said, fortunate enough to put up some numbers and stats and different things at Mesa, and I had met Coach Tuke maybe a year or two prior, just and passing. Just, hey, we want to wish you good luck type of thing. It's my alma mater, da-da-da-da-da, and didn't really think anything else of it. And then one morning I woke up with a text message from Coach Tukes, said, call me. And he had an opening, and we talked for a long time, ended up flying out for an interview and just to see if it was a good fit. And he was trying to go a different direction with what they had previously been doing offensively. And I just kind of believed in what his vision was. And the guys he had around, they just were just a hair short, coming up short prior. And I don't know, it just felt right. And we made the move. And you talk about a fun year in 2018, that first year. That spring prior was one spring or one time of my life, a few months that I'll never forget, because we were trying to completely flip the offensive identity at SEMO from everything from what you see, what we actually look like, but more the mentality and what we're trying to get accomplished. And there were some rough patches in there. There was some challenging moments, but man, at the end of the day, when we were able to hold up our end of the bargain, so to speak, because the defense was really good already. And when we gained the defense's respect at the end of that spring, I felt like we might have something here. And then when we got going in the 2018 season, and we went over to SIU and went down on a 2-minute drive and scored to win it. And like I said, I think when the defensive coaches and players started respecting us offensively, then I think we became a team. And then we were able to do some things that, no SEMO team had ever done. We won a playoff game, first time in school history, never been done even since, unfortunately. But man, that was a special time with special people, and just so thankful that all those relationships and memories now, and just good people, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I can tell you, because like I said, I pretty much I followed you throughout your career here. I was in college 13 to 17 as well over there at Harding, so I moved back here after graduating. So coming back here, coinciding when you got the job here, I mean, you guys put up some numbers there on the offensive side at SEMO. I mean, you guys had, not to mention the numbers, but you had some really, really fun players as well out there. Quarterback, receivers, running backs, all over the offense up front. It was crazy.
The coaches are awesome, everything, but we all know, like, you have to have good players. And what I always have been proud of with SEMO these years I was there is that we've had really good players, but all those great players they're like the best people. And whether it's, Ryan Flournoy or Gino Hess or, Christian Wilker, all these guys, just great dudes that you just want to root for. And, the hardest workers, and yes, obviously they're talented, but man, just good people. And, so yeah, it was a lot of fun, and winning that playoff game at home and going out to Weber State, even though we come up short, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of good times.
That was a very, very cool time, very fun run. One thing I didn't notice, Drew Forbes, an alum also of North County, is that right?
So interesting story about Drew. So when I was at North County, I coached Drew his freshman through his junior year. Going into his senior years when I left to go to Mesa. And I was out there for 4 years. So he finished his senior year of high school, went to SEMO for 3 years, and then his fourth year, or his senior year, is my first year back. And so it was just a weird coincidence
it worked out.
I got to end up coaching his senior year. It just happened to be in college. And you're just talking about a good player. Holy crap. Just, so dominant, but such a great, he's not a kid, young man. That just did special things, and it was even cherry on top being from North County. You kind of wave that flag a little bit. And then him getting drafted and everything. So it was just pretty cool. Yeah,
that is very, very cool. And now you're here. You're wearing the Saxony football shirt and hat over here. It's not a jump a lot of people see, right? Going offensive coordinator at SEMO, putting up a lot of really, really strong numbers and making the move to Saxony. You know what? I'm sure this is the part of the show where we play we're going to ask you the question you've been asked probably 1,000 times in your life, but we're going to pretend it's never happened before. What all went into that decision?
Like,
now?
why? What are you thinking? A lot of people, in the profession, like, what are you doing now again? But the previous year or two really was wearing on me as far as starting to miss things with my family, miss different activities that my kids were doing, and just being home a little bit more. You cannot work for a better head coach. Coach Tuke was awesome with time management with his coaches and different things like that. So I just wanted a little bit more as far as time with my family. And in order to be a good college coach, obviously you got to put in the time, whether it's recruiting or whatever you're doing. It just takes what it takes. And I was just kind of ready to do something different where I could be home a little bit more. And then I was presented with this opportunity to be with a good group of coaches and men out there at Saxony, that it just it was a God thing. And so, I just ended up, a lot of prayer and different things. And my wife said, go for it if that's what you want to do. And that's what I did. It's been such a great transition. Like I said, to spend more time with the family and do different things in the summer and actually go on vacation and different things. But also get to coach my son. I have a daughter that's going to be a junior as well, volleyball.
Nice run this past season.
Volleyball. Didn't miss any of those games. And then I have a younger son that'll be an 8th grader that's coming up. So just trying to be a really good husband and a really good father. I don't know if I crush it every day or not, but the opportunity to crush it is there, and I'm thankful for that. Yeah. And it's a lot of fun out there with those guys too. Those Saxony coaches, OJ and Ross Bennett and those guys that really have invested in that program. Just thankful for those guys, and just have a lot of fun showing up to, if you want to call it work, to help guide these young men and have a good season.
Yeah, you and Coach Turner crossover while you were at SEMO?
Yeah. So he was a linebacker there at SEMO when I was a quarterback. So definitely had that relationship, from years past. And so just him, and I knew Coach Bennett from different things with my younger son, with coaching baseball and playing for his team and different things. So just a lot of crazy paths that crossed that made that transition extremely smooth, and just very thankful for that. And just about trying to get a good product out there, and kids be successful and have fun and have a good experience with high school football. There's a lot of awesome things that come with that if you played football in high school, how special that can be. And giving those kids that opportunity at Saxony is really cool, and just want to be a part of that, and just keep on moving forward.
Yeah, and we talked about it early. This is only going into year 3 of the program now. So last year was the first ever varsity season for you guys. 4-5, pretty good start to the varsity run for you guys this past season. Yeah,
no, we did a lot of good things, and we found out that guys that haven't played a lot of football can't tackle real well. So I think, we really put an emphasis on trying to get better at that. It's just hard, these days that there's so many regulations, and they're there for a reason as far as just protect kids, but you don't get a ton of opportunities to truly tackle people as much as we probably did back years ago, So doing everything we can to get our guys being able to tackle better and block better, just the fundamentals of football. There's so many kids that played last year that had only played maybe that JV season prior. So there's a lot of young kids in our program that have played, a lot of football growing up that are a little bit, just better football players at the end of the day. So we're young, but I do appreciate those older guys. They don't have egos, so they ask questions. They're not afraid to fail and learn. And so it's fun to show up when you have kids. You're surrounded with kids that are just good kids, and they want to get better. And so it's easy to roll in there and let's get to work. So.
Yeah. And this past year, year one of the varsity level, or year one with the JV team, there was no home football stadium this past year that got finished. You guys got to play your first ever home game. I mean, that had to be a little bit like kind of a wild experience there. You were at a program in North County that was established, things like that before, but I mean, you were really at like the inception here of the program.
Yeah, and you just show up and get to work every day. You practice and this, that, and you just think about, oh, we got to do this, we got to get this done, yada yada. And then you get out there on the Friday night warming up, and you're kind of looking around and like, man, everyone just doesn't really know what to do or whatever. It's the first time, but we're all just figuring it out together. And it's just a special time with special people out there that they just want to do right for the kids and want them to have a great experience. And so it's just a lot of fun when everybody's pulling on the rope in the same direction, wanting the same thing, and just trying to get things accomplished that is going to better the program and the school. So
and then for you personally, what was the transition for you like going from college level to the high school level? How was that maybe changed you and the way you coach, things like that? I think I might be more relaxed. I don't know. I know. I have to ask a few players, see what their opinion is.
The stress level is a lot less, obviously, and that's helped me just to be a little bit more relaxed and trying to enjoy things instead of worrying about the next thing we have to accomplish as a group or whatever the case may be. So I think I have slowed down a little bit and just tried to enjoy things a little bit more. Although, again, if you ask the kids, I'm probably on them pretty good, but that's just kind of who I am. But, it's just I think just taking it all in and enjoying some moments. And I'm going to try to do really a good job this year. There was only a couple moments last year where I, truly got to embrace my son and, thank him and give him a big hug. And that's really special to me. And, I'm pretty hard on him, coaching wise. He's a quarterback. I'm a quarterback. Yeah,
that was going to be a question I asked.
And he takes a lot of crap from me, probably that maybe he deserves or maybe he doesn't. But I just some of those moments where you get to stop being a coach for that few seconds and be a dad and just embrace him was really special and really cool. So I'm hoping to have a few more moments like that this year. And then I get to coach my youngest son a little bit. I'm going to help out a little bit with their 8th grade group that he's a little bit honorier than maybe the others. So he's going to test me. I might have to go back to my previous years to coach him. But it's a lot of fun. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's very cool. And, talking about having some guys that are new to the game, things like that, you guys went through a skid middle of the season last year, lost 4 in a row. And, one of the things that really impressed me was how you ended the year. You guys turned it around, came back. I mean, like you said, there's some guys who are young or inexperienced and both that, being able to kind of turn things around there late in the year, I'm sure banged up, things like that, guys playing both ways. It's hard to do, but they were able to really settle in there, win the last couple of games there in the regular season.
Yeah, no, like I mentioned before, just great kids. And there's just so many learning experiences when you lose, as you know, being an athlete. And these guys just showed up after loss 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And, I probably had a harder time getting over it than some of those guys because they were just like sponges. They're like, well, why did this happen? Or why did this, what could I do different? Or what, all these things. And it's like, what am I doing? Let's just teach these guys. Let's keep moving. We all want to win and look at wins and losses. But at the end of the day, it's all these experiences. And these guys have it right. Yeah. And they just want to get better. And they just kept their head down and were coachable. And like you said, we kind of learned from some of our mistakes and was able to get a little bit better. And then we finished strong. Ran into a good Hayti team at the end, and it just is what it is. But it really, I think, helped, stoke the fire a little bit for the off season and for what to look forward to and the expectations, for this season. Yeah,
and speaking of this season, I mean, like we mentioned at the top, you guys are here now. Practice has started. So, what are What are your expectations for the guys coming in, I guess, maybe, or as a group? What are kind of the talking points, things like that for you all?
Yeah, well, offensively, we lost a lot of guys up front. We lost four of our 5 starters and our running back. And I just thankful for those guys that left the program that, they could have done some other things with their senior year, but they chose to, go out and kind of lay the foundations, what we talked about, and did some things for us that we needed them to, and just thankful for what they did. But I am really excited about the guys that are kind of taking their place. I think that, there's some really good football players there. We are a little thin, so we're going to have to stay healthy. But I am excited about that group up front. And then, we lost Alex. He was our senior running back. But Alan Rudd, he'll be a sophomore. He's had a really good offseason. And I think he's really, going to have a really good season here. So those guys combined with what we have coming back at receiver and quarterback position, I think that we can do some things offensively to put some stress on some teams. Mm-hmm. And then defensively, we, like I said before, we really have put an emphasis on tackling and trying to be physical. And we've got some younger guys that, like I said, that have played a lot of football and have grown up, have good off seasons that I think can make those strides to be more physical so that we can, stop people from scoring and really have a chance, at the end of the games to try to win a few more games.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, looking at your offense, I guess we can rewind here and it's led by your son, Kai McDowell. He's going to be 3rd year now as the guy leading the program here. What is, what is that like from your experience being a quarterback of a team? What is that experience like, kind of being the face, the leader of a group of guys on the football field?
Yeah, well, I think guys or his teammates know what to expect from him. He is a tough kid, and he's going to be prepared and those different things. And so I think just guys know that, hey, we feel good about this. Let me just take care of my spot. I don't have to worry about other things. Let me just worry about myself and my responsibilities. And I think it allows guys to have some confidence in that. It's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do that, worry about your job, so to speak. So I think he does bring some just some confidence in other players, like, hey, you can get the job done. He's done it before. And so, I'm just excited about what's around him.
Yeah.
And
because you guys bring back quite a bit of those weapons around him. Like you mentioned, Alan Rudd at running back, got some snaps there. Who I wrote down some guys like Zach Roth, Ozzie Turner, a bunch of different guys like that, all with experience. Because for you guys, I feel like more than anything at this point, that's just kind of the biggest thing right now is just keep building.
You just got to play and
playing football games.
Yeah, just play football and hey, this route, this defender does this. We're gonna tweak, adjust this or whatever. Just those small things that maybe guys have played football for years and years is kind of natural to them, but now it's starting to become a little bit more natural to these guys. So Ozzie, Bryce Gabler would be a big one, and so Jace Graham came out, played football this year. I think he'll really help us. And there's some younger guys like Sam Janet, that'll be a sophomore. Some guys that they're getting their opportunity now. So it's just fun seeing guys step up and when they get an opportunity, making the most of it. And we're gonna just what all of our offenses always do. We're going to try to be physical. We're going to try to run the football. We're going to throw it when the box is heavy and make them defend the whole field like good coaches should do and good teams do. So look forward to it.
For sure. And on the offensive line, you mentioned 4 guys graduated. I wrote down Corby Ingert, Leighton Ponder, Matthew McKee, Jack Ozark. That's a lot of guys to lose up front. That's definitely a spot where continuity, things like experience is very important.
Yeah, so. Trust me. Yeah, about a month ago, I was just scratching my head, I'm not sure, but we've had some guys step up there through July. And, we did some contact camp things that everybody does, and we had a couple guys really just kind of, I think the light bulb went off moment, and man, really have taken hold. So, Landon Buckeyes at left tackle. He's our returner. He's a really solid football player. It's a shame that he just started playing football because he is a really good player, and I think he's got so much more. His ceiling's high, so I'm hoping that he gets a chance at the next level somewhere. But he'll be at left tackle, at left guard. Luke Welsh will be a sophomore. Center Michael Bennett, he'll be a junior. At right guard, Evan Thompson, he's a junior. And then at right tackle, Will Cooper will be a senior. So some of those guys played some defense last year. Yeah. Some were banged up here and there, whatever. But we've had a really good summer, and those guys are really, coming together and gelling and doing some things that I think maybe that group did last year, but not until maybe later in the season. So hopefully we can make those steps a little bit quicker and get off on the right foot here. Yeah,
and then defensively, those aren't the guys that you directly coach, but you coach against them a lot of times in practice. Yeah. How's the defense look early on at this point? I know there's a lot more. I feel like there's more guys also coming back on that side of the ball for you.
Yeah, a lot of guys coming back mixed in with there's a couple freshmen I think that are going to be able to help us that are kind of some thumpers. And some guys that are sophomores, juniors that are taking really good steps. So those guys have had a pretty good summer. And, summer's funny with high school football. You play all these 7-on-7 things, and everybody gets all, one way or the other, excited or not. But it's not real football.
No.
But it does give you at least a little bit of a sense of maybe some things you need to work on or whatnot. But once we've started actually playing 11-on-11 and doing some different things with some other teams here at the end of July, I was pleasantly surprised on how physical we were starting to be and different things. We're not there yet, obviously, but I do think that we have made some strides on that side, and I think that there is some momentum right now and some excitement that, hey, I think we might be a little bit better than we have been and that we thought maybe we were going to be, especially on that side of the ball. So I think kids are starting to feel that, and there's some excitement. And so I think I'm really excited to see that group play. Excited to score some points, yada, yada. But I am excited to watch those guys fly around and hit people. I really am.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did put up 35 points a game this last year. I saw that. I mean, that, like you said, once you guys kind of get that going. And then how big of an impact as a coach, practices, things like that, prepared, is having guys that do play both ways? Like how what does that practice schedule look like for guys? Things like that, or how is it helpful, disruptive, whatever it might be for you?
Yeah, it's tough. Luckily at this point we have only like one or two guys right now going both ways. Okay. Now everybody has to. Well, let me backtrack. One or two guys that are on the first group, going both ways. Everybody has to go both ways.
Like you're an ankle turn away from.
Yeah.
All right, now you're playing both ways. Congrats.
But as of right now, we have just a couple guys that are starting, I guess, or with the first group going both ways, which helps practice. But those couple guys, that's a lot of reps to take, and you have to be mindful of how they're feeling and different things. Because the last thing you want to do this time of year is pull a hamstring or something silly just because of overuse when you haven't even played a game yet. So, you have to take care of those guys that are playing both ways. And, when you start factoring in special teams and different things like that, hey, there's only so many snaps that these guys can handle if you want them to go full speed. So, I think that is the biggest thing for me that's changed is the practice, structure and different things, just because you need people both sides of the ball and different things, and just kind of figure it out. And you might have to slow it down a little bit and just figure it out. But guys have been really responsive on how to practice and trying to answer those questions. So we're just kind of figuring it out together.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, another I guess general question about you guys or whatever is the what your kind of between the seasons looks like for you guys. Do you guys have time off after football ends and then leading throughout the summer? You mentioned you guys have gone to camps, things like that, and I'm sure there's all the weightlifting stuff like that mixed in there as well.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just getting these guys to realize weightlifting, the weight room, is really not an option when it comes to football.
Yeah.
And that's been the biggest probably hurdle, because guys are like, yeah, I'll play football. I'll see you in August, And we know that that's not happening if you want to be successful. So that I don't think we're still there yet. I think it's it is slowly getting better for sure. But just the expectations of working really hard in the off season, whether, we work out, before school, like a lot of people do. And so just getting, guys that might live in Perryville to drive 30 minutes and still get there at, by 6 a.m. or whatever. And just, hey, this is just what you do. And, if you wake up that morning and you're asking yourself, am I going or not? You're already defeated. The night before, you already know, this is what I'm doing type of thing. So, I think a lot of guys have made that decision, and we're moving in the right direction. We just need everybody to kind of jump on board and know, this is just what has to be done. And we'll be better for it as a team if we all get on board with that.
Yeah, I feel like, especially at a school that didn't have football 3 years ago, the weightlifting, things like that is probably one of the bigger hurdles to get over.
Yeah, we, Coach Turner and Coach Bennett and those guys literally built the weight room.
Wow.
They had a literal classroom that had some machines in there from the 70s that looked like. So that in the basement, they cleared it out and literally bought and brought in, a real weight room you would think a weight room should look like, with racks and the whole 9 yards. So they've truly just built it from the ground up. And so thankful that we have that space, and the school is right there beside us, going along with everything and trying to provide everything that needs to be provided. And so just getting these guys to believe and just make it a habit. And I think it'll pay dividends, not just for football too, because, all these guys play multiple sports, which is great. And it's going to help, weightlifting is going to help them be a better basketball player, be a better baseball player, track, whatever the case may be. So, we're going in the right direction. We just need everybody to kind of jump on and keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. And another thing you kind of mentioned, you guys have kids that aren't necessarily all don't live in, one area like you might with a public school. How challenging is it when it comes to projecting out kind of with the kids in your program, like the youth football side of it, things like that? What does that kind of look like for a private school?
Yeah, well, they started last year a junior Crusaders program that there was a 7th grade and an 8th grade team that was open to whoever wanted to come and play, and so that started the kind of, I guess, given that opportunity, hey, these group of guys are interested in attending Saxony at the high school level. And so, they had a season last year, played a bunch of private schools, went up to, MICDS, played Valley and St. Vincent and some different schools up there. And fortunately, they were undefeated, the 8th grade team and the 7th grade team. And I think a lot of those kids ended up are enrolled at Saxony now. And so
that's a big benefit, having that, especially getting the continuity of playing together, things like that a lot of these guys that are seniors,
it's just another opportunity for kids, whether they're at a private elementary and that's the direction they're for sure going, or maybe whatever the case may be. It's just another opportunity for kids. If that's the direction maybe they want to go, it's out there, and if not, it is what it is. And so we just, my son's playing on that. He played as a 7th grader, he'll be an 8th grader, and there's a good group of kids there too. So we're excited about the future. Potentially things could change, guys,
you never know,
go this way or go that way. That's the kind of the downfall with the private side that I've never been a part of. You just kind of, whoever wants to come, I guess, is just going to be there, and you go with it. But kids they're good kids, like I said before, that just want an opportunity and want to belong to something. And we're just excited that, we're able to give them that opportunity, and Saxony football is moving in the right direction. And so kids want to come be a part of that. Let's go.
Yeah, for sure. And, this season, and part of that is putting a fun product on the field, giving these guys something to watch. And last year, like I said, you guys had a very good year. You guys did a lot of things well, especially for a first-year varsity program. And then once again this season, you're challenging yourselves on the field a little bit here with the schedule. I was looking at it the other day. You guys, you got some heavy hitters on here for y'all. You play a couple of district teams, Portageville and Charleston, both on the road. You're playing a Class 4 team in Windsor. You're playing at Valley Catholic, who's one of the best teams in the state year in and year out. So I mean, you guys are definitely going to be challenging yourselves throughout the regular season once again.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, what are we doing here, guys?"
What are you trying to say? You weren't too heavily consulted in the schedule making process?
They'd be like, "Hey, do you want to play this or somebody really, really good?" I was just, "All right, I'll take the good one." No, but it is what it is, and that's exciting, to be honest with you. Like, kids look forward to that stuff. Are we ready for some of that? I don't know. We'll find out, I guess, when we show up there.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Like you mentioned, Windsor is a Class 4 team, and some other good small schools, Portageville and Charleston, those things. And then, like you said there at the end, Valley, sitting there, I talked to Judd this summer, the head coach at Valley, and I think this is like his largest senior class that he's ever had. They're like 20, low 20s, and he's like, yeah, we're going to be pretty good. And he's usually like, not like saying saying those things, and he actually is like, yeah, we're gonna be pretty good. I was like, oh, okay, so
sick.
So we'll get through that one, and then if he graduates all those guys, maybe hopefully he'll play us the next year. So I don't know, it'd be a good test for us. Obviously, we'll be the major underdog there, and we'll see what happens. But it's a fun schedule, and there's a little bit of everything, I think, on there. So kids are just excited. We open up next Friday, or at the Jamboree at Sykeston, with I think maybe New Madrid and Fredericktown and Sykeston or something like that, which
good test once again.
Yeah, some good athletes running around there and good coaches and good programs. So just to be out there with this ragtag group of kids that kind of lock arms, and we're just excited to go see what how we stack up and learn from our mistakes and keep on marching on.
And what is you guys are being doing the whole new program route, having to maybe play some different schools from different regions a little bit here. You guys play several Illinois schools. How maybe, especially on the coaching side, like how tough is that to get even film or anything like that? I don't know what all that goes into that stuff.
Yeah, the film's not too hard to get now with Huddle and everything. But I think the biggest challenge there at the beginning was just filling the schedule out. Yeah. And OJ, our head coach, and maybe a little bit with AD Mike Vipperman, it's been challenging just finding games, and when you're kind of the new kid on the block, and some of these schools already have some contracts a couple years out. It's like finding teams with open weeks that are not in conferences.
Right.
Can be tough. That's why there's a handful of Illinois schools that show up on the schedule, because we're not in a conference, so usually that middle chunk of the season for everybody, they're playing conference opponents, so everybody's weeks are kind of locked up. So we've been thankful that we were able to fill a whole schedule. And last year we played one less. We had a bye week just because we couldn't find teams, and it was probably fine too, being that first year. But no, we're looking forward to that. Yeah, there'll be some challenges, and maybe there'll be some other things that won't be as challenging, but it will all be challenging to us. But we're excited to get going.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't know how involved in that are you, but you know anything about how those kind of joining conferences talk things go like that?
No,
that's how you try to keep your hands washed of that as much.
Yeah, a lot of the high school stuff, I've been out of the loop, and I haven't really tried to jump in any loops. So I just kind of I'm just going to show up for practice tomorrow and let me know who we're playing, type of thing. And OJ and Vip have done a good job of all that stuff, and that's, again, I'm thankful that this opportunity came up, that I don't even have to be the head coach either, with a lot of other things that I just don't want to do, to be honest with you. And those are the things sometimes that just goes unnoticed. There's a lot of hard work behind the scenes that those guys do, and OJ's wife does a lot of things too that really is helpful to the program. So just a lot of just great people that we're around that are willing to do whatever it takes to help these guys have a great experience.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, we're only at time of recording here a few weeks away from, you know, getting the real thing going. What's your pitch to the people listening? What are they going to see whenever they show up on Friday the 28th home game against Veritas Christian Academy? What can people expect you guys to play?
Yeah, I think you're going to see a bunch of kids that are hungry, that are going to play fast and try to be physical. And they just want to do their jobs the best they can for the guys next to them. These guys are just good kids that just don't want to let anybody down. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, when you think of all the great attributes of teams, like this is a team that really fulfills those. Like they want to do it for one another. And so it's fun to see those guys work together and strain and fly around to try to get their jobs done. So, yeah, we're going to play fast. We're going to play physical and play for each other. And if we win, we win. If we don't, we'll learn from it, and we'll just try to keep on getting better.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, thank you for your time.
Yeah, you bet.
I appreciate it. Also, like you said, best of luck to the girls' volleyball team over the reigning, Final Four run for the Saxony Lady Crusaders.
Yeah, we got I think they're going to have a good team.
Pretty good.
Another good year, hopefully.
A lot of young ones back. Yeah, so – Coach, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Thank you guys as always. Like you said, hey, go check it out. Saxony's at home, August 28th. They'll be playing Veritas Christian Academy. Took them on last year as well. So get out, go feel the sands over there at Saxony. Going to put on it should be a fun product, I think, again this year.
You bet. Thanks.
Yes,
Appreciate
sir.
you.
Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a good one. We'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.